It started as a rumble in Detroit and evolved into an earth-shaking roar. Today, we are ranking the absolute titans of American asphalt. Spanning over 50 years of rivalry, we're climbing the horsepower ladder from the legends of the golden era to the modern monsters, breaking the 4-digit barrier. From 370 HP all the way to 1025. Buckle up. Number 30, 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30, 370 horsepower. We are kicking off our countdown of American muscle legends at number 30 with a car that proved you didn't have to sacrifice comfort to go fast. In the muscle car hierarchy of the late 60s and early 70s, Oldsmobile was often seen as the gentleman's express. They were typically more refined than a Chevelle and certainly more upscale than a bare-bones Plymouth Roadrunner. But in 1970, Oldsmobile's engineers, who were lovingly referred to as Dr. Oldsmobile in the marketing campaigns, decided to take the gloves off and build a street brawler that could wear a tuxedo. The heart of this beast was the massive 455 cubic inch V8. While the horsepower was rated at a conservative 370, the real story was the torque, a stump-pulling 500 pound-feet that came on incredibly low in the rev range. This engine didn't need to scream to move. It just twisted the earth beneath the tires. The W30 package took things a step further. It wasn't just a sticker package. It was a comprehensive performance overhaul known as Select Fit Assembly. It included a fiberglass hood with functional air scoops to force-feed the quadrajet carburetor, an aluminum intake manifold to save weight, and a hotter cam with higher lift and duration. One of the telltale signs of a real W30 was the red plastic inner fender wells, a weight-saving measure that looked incredibly cool when you popped the hood. When you stomped on the gas in a W30, the nose would lift and the car would surge forward with a kind of relentless momentum that felt more like a runaway freight train than a sports car. It was the perfect blend of luxury and brutality, proving that a muscle car could have power windows and wood grain trim and still win a bar fight on a Friday night. Number 29, 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Ram Air 4, 370 horsepower. At number 29, we have the genesis of a legend. Before the massive screaming chicken decals of the late 70s took over pop culture, and Burt Reynolds made the black and gold livery famous, this is where it all began. In 1969, the Trans Am was a serious, focused machine. Distinct from its cousin, the Camaro, Pontiac actually had to pay the SCCA $5 for every car sold just to use the name Trans Am. A licensing deal that turned out to be one of the best bargains in automotive history considering the brand recognition it built. Finished exclusively in cameo white with Tyrol blue stripes, the 69 model had a look that was clean, clinical, and aggressive. Under the twin snorkel hood sat the Ram Air 4 engine. This was Pontiac's high-winding masterpiece, rated at 370 horsepower. It featured special round port cylinder heads, distinct from the standard D-port heads found on lesser Pontiacs, and an aluminum intake that allowed it to breathe deeply at high RPMs. It also used a specialized camshaft that required specific lifters and gave the car a choppy, menacing idle that let everyone at the stoplight know this wasn't a standard Firebird. Pontiac built only 697 Trans Ams in this inaugural year, and far fewer were equipped with the Ram Air 4 option, making this one of the rarest birds in existence. Unlike many muscle cars of the era that were designed strictly for straight-line acceleration at the drag strip, the Trans Am was marketed with a nod toward road racing handling. It featured heavy-duty suspension, a 1-inch front stabilizer bar, and variable ratio power steering. It was a sophisticated savage, a car that signaled Pontiac's intent to dominate not just the stoplight, but the corners as well. Number 28, 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4, 370 horsepower. Staying in the Pontiac family for number 28, we have one of the most brilliant marketing moves in automotive history. By 1969, the GTO, which had essentially invented the muscle car segment back in 1964, was facing stiff competition from the cheaper, cheekier Plymouth Roadrunner. Pontiac needed to inject some fun and irreverence back into the brand. Taking inspiration from the Here Come the Judge skit on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, they created a car that was loud, brash, and impossible to ignore. Most Judges came in the signature carousel red paint, which was really distinctly orange and featured wild psychedelic striping and a rear spoiler that claimed to provide downforce, but mostly provided attitude. While many Judges came with the standard Ram Air 3 engine, the ones that really matter packed the Ram Air 4. With 370 horsepower on tap, this engine turned the GTO from a cruiser into a bruiser. The driver could open the hood scoops via a pull knob under the dash, allowing the engine to inhale cooler, denser air directly from the high-pressure area at the base of the windshield. The Ram Air 4 Judge was a serious piece of hardware. It utilized a 4-bolt main block for durability and high-flow exhaust manifolds that were almost as efficient as aftermarket headers. It was pure theater on the outside, but backed up by serious mechanical grit on the inside. The Judge wasn't just a car. It was a pop culture statement that you could do burnouts in, a rolling testament to the psychedelic excess of the late 1960s. Number 27, 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429, 375 horsepower. Number 27 is arguably the holy grail for Ford enthusiasts. This car exists for one singular purpose: NASCAR homologation. Ford had developed a massive new semi-Hemi engine to battle Chrysler's 426 Hemi on the high-banked oval tracks, but the NASCAR rules stated they had to sell the engine in a production car to the public to make it legal for racing. Oddly, instead of putting it in the Torino, which they actually raced, they decided to shoehorn this Leviathan into the Mustang, a car that was never designed to hold an engine this wide. The resulting modifications were extensive and expensive. The cars were shipped from the Rouge plant to Carcraft in Brighton, Michigan, where the shock towers were cut and moved outward just to make the engine fit. The battery was moved to the trunk, and a heavy-duty sway bar was installed to the rear to try and balance the weight distribution. The Shotgun 429 engine was rated at 375 horsepower, a number that was laughably underrated to keep insurance agents calm. In reality, the cylinder heads flowed so much air that the engine was essentially a race motor detuned for the street. From the factory, they were actually hampered by a small carburetor and a restrictive exhaust system, making them somewhat docile and grumpy in stop-and-go traffic. But owners knew that with a few tweaks, opening up the breathing and swapping the cam, this engine could unleash hell. The Boss 429 is nose-heavy. It doesn't handle particularly well due to the massive weight over the front axle, and it was expensive. But it has a presence that no other Mustang can match. It stands as a homologation special in the truest sense, a piece of racing engineering forced onto the street. Number 26, 1969 Mercury Cyclone Spoiler 429 Super Cobra Jet, 375 horsepower. And number 26, we have a car that often gets overlooked in favor of the Winged Warriors from Dodge and Plymouth, but is just as significant. This was the Ford Motor Company's answer to the Aero Wars being fought on NASCAR superspeedways. While the Dodge Daytona had a giant wing and a pointed nose cone, the Mercury used subtle, wind tunnel-tested aerodynamics to cheat the wind. The factory extended the nose of the standard Cyclone, reshaped the grille to be flush with the bodywork, and even cut and re-welded the rocker panels to allow the car to sit 1 inch lower to the ground for better airflow, a trick coined rolled rockers. Under that long, extended hood lay the 429 Super Cobra Jet engine. Rated at 375 horsepower, this was the drag pack option that included an external oil cooler and stronger reciprocating internals designed for abuse. The Cyclone Spoiler 2 is an incredibly rare machine, often painted in the two-tone colors of famous drivers like Cale Yarborough, red and white, or Dan Gurney, blue and white. It represents a time when win on Sunday, sell on Monday was literal gospel for manufacturers. It might look a bit quirky compared to a Charger, but on the high banks of Talladega and Daytona, this shape was slippery enough to push through the air at speeds that terrified lesser cars. It is a testament to the era when aerodynamics began to matter just as much as raw horsepower. Number 25, 1970 Plymouth Cuda 440 6-pack, 390 horsepower. Breaking into the top 25, we enter the golden era of Mopar. When Plymouth redesigned the Barracuda for 1970, they moved it to the new E-body platform. It was wider, lower, and more aggressive than the previous generation, finally able to accommodate the biggest engines in the corporate inventory without cutting metal. The six-pack designation refers to the induction setup, 3 two-barrel Holley carburetors sitting atop an Edelbrock aluminum intake manifold. This setup was brilliant in its simplicity. Under normal driving conditions, you were running on just the center carburetor, making the car surprisingly drivable and easy to start. But stomp the pedal and the vacuum-operated linkage would snap the outer 2 carburetors open, dumping massive amounts of fuel into the 440 cubic inch V8. Rated at 390 horsepower, the 440 six-pack was actually preferred by many street racers over the legendary Hemi. Why? Because the 440 six-pack was cheaper to buy, easier to tune, and lighter. It delivered instant tire-shredding torque off the line, whereas the Hemi needed high RPMs to really wake up. Painted in high-impact colors like Vitamin C Orange, Limelight, or Moulin Rouge, the Cuda 440 six-pack was the ultimate street fighter. It was a car that looked like a pack of Skittles, but hit like a sledgehammer, offering arguably the best performance per dollar ratio of 1970. Number 24, 1970 Dodge Challenger RT 440 six-pack, 390 horsepower. Sitting right next to the Cuda at number 24 is its slightly larger, slightly more upscale cousin. Dodge was late to the pony car party, arriving years after the Mustang and Camaro had established the market. But as the ad said, they built it pony car size, but muscle car strong. The Challenger rode on a wheelbase that was 2 inches longer than the Cuda, giving it a bit more interior room and a slightly smoother ride, but it shared the same mechanical heart. This RT model, standing for Road and Track, is equipped with the same 440 six-pack engine, making 390 horsepower. The induction noise of those 3 carburetors opening up is one of the greatest sounds in the automotive world, a deep, hollow intake roar that turns into a mechanical scream as the revs climb. The Challenger became an instant icon of the era, blending a menacing recessed grille and clean Coke bottle body lines with pure brute force. Buyers could opt for the shaker hood, where the air scoop was mounted directly to the engine and poked through a hole in the hood, vibrating with every cam lobe. It was the car for the guy who wanted to run 13-second quarter miles, but also wanted to arrive in style, perhaps with a vinyl roof and a rim-blow steering wheel. It remains one of the most beautiful designs to ever come out of Detroit. Number 23, 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle Supersport 454 LS6, 450 horsepower. Number 23 is often cited as the absolute peak of the classic muscle car era. For years, General Motors had a rigid corporate policy banning engines larger than 400 cubic inches in their mid-size cars, leaving the heavy lifting to the Corvette and full-size sedans. In 1970, they finally lifted that ban, and Chevrolet wasted no time dropping a nuclear weapon into the Chevelle platform. The LS6 454 was a beast of an engine. It featured a forged steel crank, forged connecting rods, and aluminum pistons with an 11.25:1 compression ratio. It was rated at a staggering 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. To this day, many dyno experts believe that number was underrated and the true output was closer to 500 horsepower right off the showroom floor. When equipped with a cowl induction hood, a vacuum-operated flap at the base of the windshield would snap open under full throttle to feed cold, high-pressure air to the Holley carburetor. This wasn't just a fast car, it was the king of the streets in 1970. It had a presence that commanded authority. If you pulled up to a stoplight and saw the SS 454 badges on the fender, you didn't race. You just nodded in respect and let him go, because unless you were driving a pure race car, you were probably going to lose. Number 22, 1968 Dodge Dart Hemi Super Stock V8, 425 horsepower. At number 22, we have a vehicle that stretches the definition of a production car to its absolute breaking point. This was a factory-built drag racer that you could technically buy from a dealership, but it came with no warranty and a standard disclaimer that it was not intended for highway use. Dodge took their smallest, lightest, compact car, the Dart, and sent it to Hearst Campbell for a radical conversion. They stripped out everything: the radio, the heater, the sound deadening, and the rear seats. Even the window regulators were replaced with simple seatbelt straps to pull the windows up and down. The front fenders and hood were replaced with lightweight fiberglass. The doors were acid-dipped steel to make them paper-thin and light. And into this featherweight shell, they dropped the race-spec 426 Hemi engine, rated at 425 horsepower. The result was terrifying. These cars could run 10-second quarter miles right off the trailer with virtually no modifications. The rear wheel wells were cut roughly to fit massive slicks, and the battery was moved to the trunk. They were unruly, loud, and barely legal, representing the absolute extreme of factory support for drag racing. It wasn't a car you drove to the grocery store. It was a car you drove to humiliate everyone else at the local strip. Number 21, 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda V8, 425 horsepower. Number 21 is the blue chip investment of the muscle car world, the car that adorns the walls of garages everywhere. While we talked about the 446 pack earlier, the Hemi was the undisputed top dog of the Chrysler lineup. The 426 Hemi, nicknamed the Elephant, was a race engine slightly detuned for the street. It featured massive cylinder heads with hemispherical combustion chambers that allowed for huge valves and incredible airflow efficiency. Rated at 425 horsepower, the Hemi Cuda was a high RPM screamer. Below 3,000 RPM, it could be grumpy, prone to loading up, and fouling spark plugs if you drove it like a grandma. But once you cleared its throat and let the dual 4-barrel carburetors sing, the power delivery was violent. The combination of the sexy E-body curves, the shaker hood vibrating with the engine's idle, and the legendary Hemi power plant created a mythos that endures today. This is the car that commands millions at auctions. Not just because of its rarity, only 652 Hemi hardtops were built in 1970, but because it symbolizes the absolute zenith of Chrysler's engineering prowess before emissions regulations and insurance premiums choked the life out of the industry. It is a rolling piece of art that sounds like a thunderstorm. Number 20, 1970 Dodge Challenger SRT 426 Hemi V8, 425 horsepower. Breaking into the top 20, we have the pop culture icon of rebellion. Immortalized by the cult classic movie Vanishing Point, this car represents the ultimate freedom of the open road and the brute force required to conquer it. Like its Plymouth sibling, the Challenger Hemi packed the same 4 to 125 horsepower Elephant motor, featuring dual 4-barrel Carter carburetors and heavy-duty internals. The Hemi option was incredibly expensive. In 1970, it cost nearly $800, which was a huge chunk of change when the base car cost around $3,000. Because of this high entry price, few were ordered, making them incredibly scarce today. Driving a Hemi Challenger is a physical experience. The heavy steering, the stiff suspension designed to handle the extra engine weight, and the roar of the solid lifter cam create a sensory overload. It's a car that demands your attention at all times, rewarding the brave driver with acceleration that pulls hard all the way to the 150 mile/hour speedometer limit. It is the ultimate anti-hero car, a vehicle that looks fast even when parked, and backs up every bit of its visual aggression with mechanical dominance. Number 19, 1969 Dodge Charger RT, 426 Hemi V8, 425 horsepower. At number 19 is perhaps the most menacing shape ever stamped in steel. With its vacuum-operated hidden headlights, split grille, and muscular Coke bottle hips, the 69 Charger looks fast, dangerous, and undeniably cool. But when you check the box for the 426 Hemi, it became a legend. Rated at 425 horsepower, the Hemi Charger was a highway missile. This is a big car. It's long, wide, and heavy, but the Hemi didn't care about physics. It powered the Charger to speeds that aerodynamicists of the time deemed adventurous. The suspension was beefed up with the RT package to handle the power, including heavy-duty torsion bars and rear leaf springs, but it was still a handful in the corners. Whether you associate it with the villains in bullet-chasing Steve McQueen or the high-flying jumps in the Dukes of Hazzard, the Charger RT Hemi is the definitive tough guy car. It has a road presence that clears the left lane instantly. It doesn't ask for permission, it takes up the whole road and dares you to try and pass. It represents the peak of the B-body platform's development and remains one of the most desirable cars in the world. Number 18, 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 V8, 430 horsepower. Number 18 is the unicorn of the Chevrolet lineup, a car that by all rights shouldn't have existed. This car was brought to life through the Central Office Production Order, or COPO, system, a loophole that savvy dealers like Fred Gibb used to order race parts on factory cars that weren't technically available to the public. The centerpiece was the ZL1 engine, an all-aluminum version of the 427 big block originally developed for Can-Am racing. The aluminum block saved about 100 pounds over a standard iron big block, giving the Camaro the weight distribution of a small block with the power of a monster. It was rated at 430 horsepower, but everyone involved knew that was a blatant lie. Out of the box, with decent headers, it was pushing well over 500 horsepower. The cost of the engine option alone was more than the base price of the car itself, making the ZL1 astronomically expensive. Only 69 of these machines were built. They represent the pinnacle of Chevy's win at all costs mentality in the late 60s. A stripped down, lightweight, race engine powered street car that was built to dominate the NHRA Superstock classes. Today, it is one of the most valuable and historically significant American cars ever produced, the ultimate expression of the first generation Camaro. Number 17, 2006 Pontiac GTO LS 2V8, 400 horsepower. We now fast forward through the dark ages of the 70s and 80s to the modern renaissance of muscle. At number 17 is a sleeper that deserves way more respect than it gets. After a 30-year hiatus, GM brought the GTO nameplate back by importing the Holden Monaro from their Australian division. Critics at the time complained that it looked too bland, resembling a bloated Chevy Cavalier, but they were missing the point entirely. By 2006, the GTO was equipped with the 6.0-liter LS2V8, the exact same heart found in the C6 Corvette of the time. It made 400 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. Because it was built in Australia, the interior quality was miles ahead of typical American GM products of the mid-2000s, featuring color-coordinated leather and real bolstering. Crucially, the independent rear suspension meant it could actually handle a corner without hopping sideways. It was comfortable, quiet, and refined until you mashed the pedal. Then it became a tire-shredding drift machine. It stands as one of the best all-around daily driver muscle cars ever made, hiding supercar performance in a plain wrapper. It's a car that lets you fly under the radar until you decide to open the throttle. Number 16, 2007 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500 V8, 500 horsepower. Number 16 marks a historic reunion. In 2007, Ford and Carroll Shelby teamed up once again to unleash a new era of performance. This was the car that signaled the horsepower wars were escalating to new, frightening heights. Ford took the retro-styled S197 Mustang platform and dropped in a 5.4-liter supercharged V8 derived from the Ford GT supercar program. The result was 500 horsepower. In 2007, 500 horsepower was a magic number, a figure previously reserved for Vipers and Ferraris. The GT500 was a brute. It was nose-heavy due to the iron block engine. It used a live rear axle that struggled to put the power down on bumpy roads, and the supercharger whine was absolutely addictive. It wasn't a precision instrument, it was a sledgehammer. It democratized high horsepower, putting Viper-level power into a package you could buy at your local Ford dealer with a warranty. It was fast, slightly dangerous, and immensely charismatic, setting the stage for every high horsepower Mustang that would follow in the coming decades. Number 15, 2014 Chevrolet Camaro Z, 28 V8, 505 horsepower. At number 15, Chevrolet decided to go in a radically different direction. This car wasn't built for the drag strip. It was built to murder lap times. Chevy resurrected the Z28 nameplate for the most track-focused Camaro ever built up to that point. They stripped out the air conditioning, the stereo, the trunk carpet, and the sound deadening. They even thinned the rear window glass to save grams. Under the hood was the legendary 7.0-liter LS7 V8, naturally aspirated, sourced directly from the Corvette Z6. It made 505 horsepower and revved to 7,000 RPM with instantaneous throttle response. But the real magic was in the chassis. It featured Multimatic DSSV spool valve dampers technology, borrowed from Formula One racing, and massive carbon ceramic brakes that could stop a freight train. The tires were 305-section Pirelli Trofeo R semi-slicks on all four corners, so wide that the wheels had to be grit blasted to prevent the tires from slipping on the rim under heavy braking. The Z28 is a raw, visceral track weapon that proved a heavy American muscle car could outhandle European sports cars costing 3 times as much. Number 14, 2016 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 350 V8, 526 horsepower. Number 14 is a masterpiece of auditory violence. Ford wanted to build a Mustang that wasn't just about straight line speed, but about connection, feedback, and feel. To do that, they created an engine unlike anything ever put in an American production car, the Voodoo 5.8. This 5.2-liter engine featured a flat plane crankshaft, a design usually found in Ferraris and McLarens. This allowed it to rev to a screaming 8,250 RPM. Rated at 526 horsepower, it didn't have the low-end torque of a big pushrod V8, but the way it built power was intoxicating. The sound it makes is a unique, jagged howl that is instantly recognizable and sends shivers down your spine. Paired with a standard Tremec manual transmission and Magna ride suspension, the GT350 is widely considered one of the greatest driver's cars of the modern era. It's nervous, exciting, and alive in your hands, offering a driving experience that is as close to a race car as you can get with a license plate. It shifted the perception of the Mustang from a drag strip hero to a world-class athlete. Number 13, 2011 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500 V8, 550 horsepower. Back to the heavyweight boxers at number 13. This model year was a pivotal turning point for the GT500 lineage. Ford addressed the biggest complaint about the earlier models, the weight, by ditching the heavy iron block and introducing a new aluminum block 5.4-liter supercharged V8. This shed over 100 pounds off the nose of the car, dramatically improving the handling, turn-in, and overall balance. Power was bumped up to 550 horsepower. This was also the introduction of the optional SVT performance package, which added stiffer springs, stickier tires, and a slightly higher rear axle ratio for better acceleration. The 2011 GT500 proved that Ford was listening to critics. It was faster, sharper, and more refined than the 2007 original, finally becoming a car that could handle a canyon road as well as a drag strip. It bridged the gap between a clumsy muscle car and a genuine sports coupe. Number 12, 2012 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 V8, 580 horsepower. Chevy fires back at number 12 with the return of a legendary nameplate. Unlike the '69 original, which was a stripped-out racer, the modern ZL1 was designed to be a high-tech grand tourer. It borrowed the LSA supercharged 6.2-liter V8 from the Cadillac CTS-V, producing a stout 580 horsepower. But power was only half the story. The ZL1 was the first Camaro to feature magnetic ride control, a suspension system that could read the road surface 1,000 times per second and adjust the dampers instantly. This allowed the ZL1 to be compliant and comfortable on the highway, but rock solid on the track at the push of a button. It was a car that could do it all: drag strip, road course, and daily commute. It brought a level of sophistication and versatility to the muscle car segment that forced everyone else to step up their game. Number 11, 2017 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 V8, 650 horsepower. Just missing the top 10 is the evolution of the species. Built on the lighter, stiffer Alpha platform, this car took everything good about the previous ZL1 and dialed it up to 11. Under the carbon fiber insert hood lay the LT4 engine, a supercharged 6.2-liter V8 shared with the C7 Corvette Z6. The numbers were staggering: 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. It was available with a 6-speed manual Aura, lightning-fast 10-speed automatic transmission co-developed with Ford. The performance was supercar level. It could hit 60 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds and run the quarter mile in the 11s. But more impressively, it clocked a lap time at the Nürburgring Nordschleife that embarrassed many Porsches and Ferraris. The 2017 ZL1 proved once and for all that the muscle cars can't turn stereotype was dead and buried. Number 10, 2013 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500 V8, 662 horsepower. Kicking off our top 10 is the car that officially ignited the 600 horsepower wars. Ford decided they were tired of incremental gains and went for a knockout punch. They bored the engine out to 5.8 liters and strapped on a massive TVS supercharger. The result was 662 horsepower and 631 pound-feet of torque. At the time, this was the most powerful production V8 engine in the world. Ford claimed a top speed of 200 miles per hour, a feat that required immense bravery given the car still rode on a live rear axle. Driving the 2013 GT500 is an exercise in restraint. The rear tires are perpetually overwhelmed, and the traction control system is merely a suggestion. It is a wild, untamed animal that demands respect, marking the end of the solid axle era with the biggest bang possible. Number 9, 2015 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat V8, 707 horsepower. At number 9, the automotive world changed forever. The year was 2015, and Dodge unleashed a monster. Before this car, 600 horsepower was considered extreme. Dodge skipped right past 600 and dropped a bomb, 707 horsepower. And the craziest part? It came with a 5-year warranty, heated seats, air conditioning, and a touchscreen navigation system. The Hellcat wasn't just a car, it was a cultural phenomenon. It featured a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8 that required so much air they replaced one of the headlights with a functional intake duct called the air catcher. It came with 2 keys, a black key that limited power to 500 horsepower for the valet, and a red key that unlocked the full 707. The Hellcat forced every other manufacturer to rethink their strategy. It proved that in the modern era, there's no such thing as too much power. It is the patriarch of the modern horsepower age. Number 8, 2015 Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat V8, 707 horsepower. If a 707 horsepower coupe is crazy, a 707 horsepower family sedan is absolute lunacy. That brings us to number 8. Mechanically identical to the Challenger, the Charger wrapped that supercharged fury in a practical 4-door body. Upon its release, it was the fastest, most powerful, mass-produced sedan in the world, capable of hitting 204 miles per hour thanks to slightly better aerodynamics than the Challenger. Let that sink in. A car with latch points for baby seats and a spacious trunk that can outrun a Lamborghini on the highway. The Charger Hellcat is the ultimate sleeper for the uninitiated, blending into traffic until the supercharger whine announces its presence. It represents the ultimate American excess, the ability to take the whole family to dinner at Mach 1. Number 7, 2021 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Widebody V8, 717 horsepower. One of the biggest complaints about the early Hellcats was traction, or the lack of it. 700 horsepower is useless if you can't put it to the ground, and the skinny 275 section tires were hopelessly overmatched. Dodge's solution sits at number 7. Dodge added 3.5 inches of width to the fenders, allowing them to stuff massive 305 section tires on all 4 corners. They also bumped the power slightly to 717 horsepower. The widebody completely transformed the car's character. Finally, the chassis had enough grip to match the engine. It could corner harder, launch harder, and brake harder. Visually, the flared fenders gave it a stance that looked like a Trans Am racer for the street. It turned the Hellcat from a burnout machine into a genuine performance car that you could push in the corners without immediately spinning out. Number 6. 2020 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500 V8. 760 horsepower. Number 6 is arguably the most technologically advanced muscle car ever built. Ford stepped away from the manual transmission completely, equipping this car exclusively with a razor-sharp 7-speed dual-clutch automatic that shifts faster than any human ever could. The engine, nicknamed Predator, is a 5.2-liter supercharged V8 making 760 horsepower. Unlike the Hellcat, which is a blunt instrument, the GT500 ISA scalpel. The aerodynamics are fully functional, creating massive downforce. The optional carbon fiber track pack added exposed carbon fiber wheels technology, usually found on multi-million-dollar hypercars, to reduce unsprung weight and improve handling. It drives like a European exotic but sounds like a NASCAR. It obliterates the quarter mile and destroys lap times with equal proficiency. It is the pinnacle of what the Mustang platform can achieve. Number 5. 2019 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Red-Eye V8. 797 horsepower. Entering the top 5, Dodge decided that 707 horsepower was old news. They raided the parts bin from their limited run Demon project and created the Hellcat Red-Eye. This is essentially a Hellcat engine fitted with the larger 2.7-liter supercharger, stronger connecting rods, and high-speed valve train from the Demon. The output? 797 horsepower. The Red-Eye features some incredible tech, like the power chiller, which uses the car's air conditioning system to cool the supercharger's intercooler fluid, ensuring consistent power even in the heat. It sucks down fuel so fast at full throttle that the fuel lines had to be upsized. With nearly 800 horsepower, the Red-Eye blurs the line between a street car and a race car. It's relentless, terrifyingly fast, and completely unapologetic about its thirst for fuel and tires. Number 4. 2021 Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat Red-Eye V8, 797 horsepower. At number 4, we have the 4-door version of the Apocalypse. Dodge took the wide-body kit, the 797 horsepower engine, and the aggressive suspension tuning, and applied it to the Charger sedan. The result is a family car that runs 10-second quarter miles from the factory. This car defies physics. A 4,600-pound sedan simply shouldn't move this fast. The hood features functional scoops and heat extractors to manage the immense thermal load of the engine. Inside, it's comfortable and spacious, but outside, it sounds like a jet taking off. It is the king of the highway, a vehicle that asserts dominance simply by existing. There is no other sedan on the planet that offers this much horsepower for the price. Number 3. 2020 Dodge Challenger SRT Superstock V8, 807 horsepower. At number 3, Dodge begins to specialize. The Superstock is a car designed with one singular focus: drag racing domination. It sits on smaller 18-inch wheels specifically to accommodate massive Nitto drag radial tires with tall sidewalls for better launching. The suspension is tuned specifically for weight transfer, squatting the rear end hard on acceleration to plant the tires. The engine is calibrated to 807 horsepower. While that's only a small jump from the Red-Eye, the entire package works in harmony to get that power to the pavement. It's not a car for corner carving. The suspension is too soft and the sidewalls are too squishy. It's a bracket racing cheat code. It represents Dodge doubling down on what they do best, going fast in a straight line and looking cool doing it. Number 2. 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon V8, 840 horsepower. Number 2 is the car that broke the internet. This was a limited run experiment in insanity. Dodge built 3,300 of these monsters with the sole purpose of covering the quarter mile as fast as possible. It came with a Demon crate for $1, full of track parts, skinny front runner tires, and a PCM aimed at high-octane race fuel. When running on 100 octane gas, the Demon produced 840 horsepower. It was the first production car equipped with a trans brake, allowing it to build boost at the starting line and launch so hard it actually lifted the front wheels off the ground, a Guinness World Record for a production car. It ran the quarter mile in 9.65 seconds, so fast that the NHRA officially banned it from competition for not having a roll cage. It was a mic drop moment for the internal combustion engine. Number 1. 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 V8, 1,025 horsepower. And finally, at number 1, the ultimate muscle car, the final last call special edition. Just when we thought the 2018 Demon couldn't be topped, Dodge engineers rebuilt the engine almost entirely to run on E85 ethanol. The 170 in the name refers to the proof of the alcohol fuel. When the sensor detects you have a tank full of corn juice, this engine unleashes a mind-bending 1,025 horsepower and 945 pound-feet of torque. It hits 60 miles per hour in 1.66 seconds. It destroys the quarter mile in an NHRA certified 8.91 seconds. It is faster than a Bugatti Chiron, faster than a Tesla Plaid, faster than almost anything with a license plate. It comes with a parachute as an option because you actually need it at the track. The Demon 170 is the glorious, screaming grand finale of the V8 era, standing alone at the summit of horsepower mountain. From raw, mechanical grit to engineering witchcraft that defies physics, we've just witnessed the absolute peak of American performance.